the October edition of Mytech U discussion, where this month we thought we'd take a moment to highlight the new iPhone and the new iOS version that has come out recently, and as well as take an opportunity to highlight some favorite applications that from some of our engineers that can be used from a business perspective, as well as just some fun ones that you may be able to use for your own. So today we're going to have Jeff Funk presenting. He is definitely a tech guru and definitely an, I don't know, Jeff, would you call it an iPhone geek maybe? iPhone nerd?
You could say that, yes.
Okay. So Jeff's going to guide us through today. These, as you see on the screen, the topics of conversation we're going to go through. We've got some screenshots. I would encourage anyone, if you have any questions, please use your questions chat on the control panel, and I will be able to insert those and or follow up with you after the presentation. But we do have some screenshots, but we also have some emulators. So if you do have some questions or we need to dive deeper, we can definitely do that. So without further ado, thank you all for participating and for those who are watching online after the fact. And Jeff, take it away.
Thank you, Nate. Well, today, like Nathan said, we're going to take a look at some features of the new iOS that recently came out, and in particular look at battery life, which everybody is concerned with for not just the iOS and the iPhone, but for most phones. But there are some tips that you can do to help increase that battery life. And then amongst all of the engineers and other staff in the office, all of us have some favorite applications that we use. We're going to go through a couple of them, ranging from how to look at documents, online storage, note-taking, news, consuming news and the best way to do that, the all-important password security. We're going to take a brief look at link and messaging, and then just some media content that, if you look at the way I consume things on my iPad, media content is the biggest thing that I'm consuming. But we really want to kind of cover just some basic things and look at some stuff for you. So the iOS 7 version just recently came out. It was a big shift for Apple. They changed some major things that a lot of people don't like, but there are a lot of really good things that have come out of it. One of the things that they were trying to do is make it easier to do certain things. A lot of people complained that you didn't have the availability to get to certain things quickly. So one of the things that they implemented, excuse me, was this: from the top swiping down, you get this today, all, and missed screen. The today will list everything that you have for a schedule. It'll list you your reminders. It'll tell you how many events you have tomorrow. It'll show you the weather. There's some things that you can do to configure what is showing there. The all basically just says, here are all the messages that came in today, and missed. If you missed something, it'll list it. So just a simple swipe down from the top, even if you're in lock mode. You can set it so that doesn't work in lock mode if you want that security, but if you want to be able to, in lock mode, swipe down to see what's there, it's a very quick access to that. On top of that, if you're ever taking your iPhone on the plane and realize that to get to the airplane mode or to turn off your Bluetooth or to turn off Wi-Fi, you had to go into the settings and click on this and click on that. Well, they made the new ability to swipe up from the bottom, which gives you very fast access to a lot of different items. One of them, you can see the circles along the top. One of them is airplane mode, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. You can also, the crescent moon sideways that's along the top there is the do not disturb. So if you have settings for do not disturb, in other words, if somebody calls you when you're in do not disturb, you can automatically send them a text message, hey, I'm busy, I'll call you later. You can actually activate that from that screen. And then a rotational lock, so you can lock your rotation of your phone so it's in landscape or portrait. Right below that, the two suns, brightness, that's common for the brightness meters. You can change that brightness meter so that you're using more, so it's brighter or darker. That's one good, quick way to use battery, is to stick it at the brightest thing possible which is helpful when you're out in the sun, but if you're not, you don't necessarily need that bright, and turning it down is a good thing. If you're running an application like Audible, or which you can see here, I have Audible running, so I'm able to play and stop and forward and use the volume from here. Even if you're running your music through there, you'll be able to control it from that side. AirDrop contacts only, that's a new feature with AirDrop, where you can AirDrop and send somebody stuff through Bluetooth or Wi-Fi connection. And on the bottom, there's a flashlight, access to the clock, calculator, and the camera. So the swiping up from the bottom gives you a bunch of features that people were asking for that we didn't have before.
Well, Jeff, I have to jump in and just highlight that this was something that that I didn't know about it existed. I knew you could swipe from the top in previous versions, but you had to be and you could do some swiping, but it only allowed you access to the camera when you're on the lock screen. So this is available via the lock, so you don't even have to sign in with your password or anything, and you can actually get access to this. I just think that's really cool.
I do too. I use it a lot. I'll pull it down and look at my day and just to see what's going on. So it's very helpful. Some of the other features that pretty much anybody in our office who has a 5S, it is the biggest thing, is the fingerprint security. I like to use this for all the time. I just will sit there, and when it's locked, I'll just put my finger on it and unlock it just because I can. Basically, you don't have to enter an access code. If you set an access code, and then you can set fingerprints to unlock that access code without having to type in the access code. So what you can do is you can press it to wake it up, and then just keep your thumb there, and it'll unlock your phone. So no more fumbling for what to access code while you're driving so you can send text messages. Don't do that. You don't have to do that anymore. You can just hold, and it'll unlock for you. And the nice thing is they give you the ability to set up multiple fingerprints. So I have both my thumbs and both my pointer fingers set up on mine, so you can see four fingerprints that are added. But you can add more. You can add your big toe if you want it. It'll work so that whatever you press on the sensor, it'll unlock the phone. And you can see near the top there it says iTunes and App Store. You can set it so that instead of having to enter your iTunes or App Store password, you can use your fingerprint. So if your son or daughter knows the iTunes or App Store password, and they go to your phone and buy something so that they can have it, that no longer is a problem because they don't have your fingerprint even if they have the password. So you can set it that way. I love this feature. It's one of my favorites. One of the other things that they changed that was, I think, people were crying out for was this, when you double-click, instead of going to like a home screen, what it does is it zooms out and allows you to swipe through all the applications that you have running. You can see the screenshot we have here is that one of the windows is sliding up. Basically, if you want to close an application, you just double-click. It zooms out so you can see all the apps. You just grab one of the apps and throw it up into the air, swipe it off the top of the screen, and the application will close. That is a new feature that is nice for people who have a lot of apps open and they want to just close a few things to free up any available RAM or needed processing power, which isn't always needed because it's a pretty fast phone. So I think those are some of the bigger features. There's a lot of other things. Obviously, the changes in the icons, it's a much more pastel icon base. That is not liked by many people, but you don't always have to look at your home screen. You're usually in an app, so you never really see it anyway. But so those are some of the major features that are out there. So let's, there's one more I forgot. I cannot forget this one, is the slow motion camera. This is actually new. I used it at my niece's soccer game, and you can basically capture a video in slow motion. Basically, it's just taking the image and obviously slowing it down. That's what slow-mo is. And it it's great to add kind of a cool effect to anything that you're videotaping. Like basically when you can catch your grandfather sneezing and you can slow-mo the video, that's not something you want to see again, but you can do that. You still have the panorama photo options, the regular video options. They just added this slow-mo set, and we didn't get that one in there. If you press and hold now, instead of just like, it will actually take photo after photo after photo in a series very, very fast. Like you hold it down for a second and like 15 snapshots will take. So it's not the full 30 frames per second, but it'll take an image over and over and over again so that you get this series of movements, not slow-mo, but just series of still shots through a sequence of events. It's not something, you're not going to take those types of pictures or on a regular basis, but sometimes it's kind of cool to do that and include it in something that you may be putting together. So those are the features. Now we're done. No more. That was the last one that I missed, but a lot of really good features that came out in iOS 7. Battery life is the biggest thing that people have concerns with over a phone. I mean, you don't want to get to the end of the day and need to call somebody and you can't because you don't have enough battery. So there's little tips and tricks that you can do. These tricks have been around for a long time. This is by no means dedicated solely to iOS 7. You can do these on the previous iOS version in the 4S and the 4 if you're running iOS 6. Some of these things are the same, going back to iOS 5 actually too. So one of the biggest things that you can do is you can turn off radios. In the settings screen, you can turn off Bluetooth, which they moved now. You can do it there, or like I showed before, swiping up from the bottom to easily turn Bluetooth off and Wi-Fi off. That will basically turn those antennas off and not use that power. And then there's airplane mode. Airplane mode, however, is also going to turn off the radio for receiving phone calls. But if you are in dire straits and really, really, really need to conserve energy, you can turn into airplane mode, and that'll turn it off. You can also turn the phone off completely, and that'll really conserve battery. The other feature that uses power are the location services, and you can use those that location services settings that are under privacy. If you look at the top of the screenshot, it says privacy in blue and then location services. Once you click on privacy, you get to the location services. Location services uses the GPS antenna with Wi-Fi hotspots and cell towers to basically determine an approximate location for where you are, triangulation. And then applications can be set to use those coordinates to deliver you information. If you're at the Apple Store, if you open the Apple Store app, it'll tell you the closest Apple Store. If you're using an app that's on here called Bike Maps, it'll show you whereabouts you are at that moment. And the camera, anytime you take an image, it's going to put a GPS coordinate in it. You can turn all of that off. The more apps that are using the location services, the more battery that's going to be used. Well, because you have a ton of them running, it's going to constantly be pinging the radio tower and getting that information. Up along the very top next to the clock, what you will see is a little arrow. That arrow basically is indicating that there's an application running right now at that moment that is using the location services. We'll see in another location or another screen how the different colored arrows can determine different things and what's being used. So if you go to the privacy and location services and you don't care that app where an Apple Store is near you, you can turn that off. If you don't really care of a program asking for things, turn it off. You might ask yourself, how does this get turned on? anytime that you open an application that's going to use the GPS services, it will ask you, can I access maps, or can I access contacts? It'll ask you when you leave it. Most people just kind of hit yes, allow, but this is where you can go in and turn those off. Here's the bottom portion of that page. You can see there's a couple more things showing what is on. You notice I turned WikiHood off, but a purple location service icon will appear next to an item that's has recently used your location. So if you look through, it'll do it. A gray one will show that it's used in the last 24 hours. So you can see what is being used or has been used in this screen. And by turning some of that stuff off, you can save some battery life. So looking at a couple more things is the background app refresh. And you can change this as well. What this is if you have an application that, for example, Evernote, or if I have a Fly Delta app in there, or Foursquare, where it might want to know where your location is, or update information so that you have the most up-to-date information in that application, it'll refresh in the background using either the Wi-Fi or cellular services, or even use location services in the background as well. Just like location services, the background app refresh can be turned off, either doing it for all of them at the top or individually for each one. You can see that the arrow indicates the app uses location services. So Band of the Day uses location services. Dropbox does. Find Friends and Fly Delta, it's using location services as well as updating in the background. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. So, but battery is always an issue for most people because you want to make it through a day. The one thing besides making these changes to your phone, a couple other things that we don't have a screenshot of is changing the timing with which your screen goes blank. Kind of like on your desktop when you walk away, the screen will go black after a certain amount of time. You can change that on your phone too. So if you can change things so that it uses the least amount of power over time, you're going to save battery life. No one's going to turn their phone off, because then it's not a phone anymore. It's just a brick, a glass, expensive brick, but it's a brick all the same. So you actually want to leave it on, but you want to do things that can help you, keep things from using too much power. Nate, do you have issues at all with your phone? I mean,
no, I didn't, but I tell you, the feature that it's kind of a double whammy for me that I like is I usually don't turn off my Wi-Fi and don't turn off my Bluetooth because historically you had to unlock your phone, go into settings, scroll down, click Bluetooth or click Wi-Fi, and then turn it off. And so I know those were battery-saving options in the past, but just because it was more painful to do it and turn them off and on when I wanted to, I just didn't do it. So now I'm pretty excited that not only is it an easier feature to access via the swipe up from even the lock screen, but it's also a significant battery-saving measure. So that's been the one thing that I've really enjoyed about the new iOS.
I, like you, do not like to turn my Wi-Fi and my Bluetooth off, especially Bluetooth, because the minute I get in my car, my books from Audible will start going automatically because of Bluetooth. So I don't want to turn it off ever. Something that I've gotten into a habit of is just in case in my car I have a cable to charge my phone. At my desk at the office, I have a cable to charge my phone. Next to my bed on my end table, I have a cable to charge my phone. I have only three. I don't even carry one around. Those are the only three that I have, and if I think that I'm going to worry about power, I just plug it in for a little while, and it charges pretty fast. It's not a battery-saving technique, right? But it is a kind of this second level, second tier superior option of battery life, which is having the ability to power it when you can. It works for me. So those are features in battery. Now comes the fun part. The fun part is getting to take a look at some applications. I do have an emulator so that if people have any questions or want to see something specifically, we can quickly jump into an app and actually look at the app itself. But we did stick with screenshots because at the time we started planning for this, we didn't have the emulator, but I did find one. So let's take a look at a couple different sections. We're going to break it down into sections so that we can get in just easier to break things down into parts instead of looking at everything haphazardly. So the first one we'll look at is PDF or document viewing or annotation apps. There's two that we use primarily either in the office amongst engineers or that I use. There's PDF Pen, which is a desktop app and an iOS app that is a very extensive PDF annotator. One that I didn't know about, that just found out about due to this Mytech U presentation, was Goodreader. And it is also a great tool to annotate. It actually has the better ability to annotate than PDF Pen does, but PDF Pen has a better way of signing documents, signing PDFs, and saving them than Goodreader does. So they're both great apps. There's a screenshot here showing the interface for Goodreader. What's important about these apps is how do you get your documents to your computers? You have to have the document in order to use it. So you can access your documents through Dropbox, SkyDrive, Google Drive, FTP, email, tons of ways to do that. Both Goodreader and PDF Pen will do that. And then you can open up the document, and you can see in the new screenshot, I wrote hello, and I'm pointing to something, and I highlighted some stuff and underlined. Very easy. The tools are on the right. Along the bottom, you can open up, close, view 2 pages at once. It's a great PDF annotating tool. I like it. I think if I have to annotate PDFs, I'm going to use that the most. So then there's my PDF Pen, which allows you to, same thing, upload documents, sign. I did a little signature there. They have the ability to send the docs via email out. Those two, Goodreader and PDF Pen, great apps to be used for annotating PDFs and documents. They'll both open up Word documents as well. Online storage apps. Most people know what these are, and I'm just going to briefly touch on them. These are I would say, the big three. There's several others out there, and of course, I don't mention iCloud in here because iCloud is just integrated. These are actually extra ones. Dropbox, free, 2 gigabytes. If you turn on the camera upload, they actually give you free space, and then you can turn the camera upload off, and then later turn it back on and get more free space, and do that again, and do that again. You can also invite other people, and you get free space. I think I'm up to 8 gigabytes now, and I started with 2. There's SkyDrive. SkyDrive is Microsoft. If you were a legacy Hotmail account or had it before, you'll have like 25 gigabytes of space. And then there is Google Drive. A lot of people are using Google. There's an app for all 3 of these. They all integrate with other iOS applications. There's similarity between all of them. You can auto-upload photos. And all of the apps were kind of redesigned for iOS 7 recently. So if you don't have one of these 3, get one of these 3, especially if you need to pass documents back and forth. Great tools. Other stuff out there, but these are by far the best, I think. And everybody in our office, if they're using one, this is what they're using. Note-taking. There are 2 biggies that...
Hey, Jeff, I want to interject real quick on the last one.
Yep.
Some of those, the Dropbox, as many people know, is free. A lot of these I think are all free,
Yeah,
but
they all are
SkyDrive
free.
is one of those. Okay, good. And SkyDrive is one of those that also, if people, your organization is using Office 365, Microsoft has been using SkyDrive almost synonymously with the SharePoint that is built in Office 365 too. So I just wanted to note that as far as some of the stuff that Jeff is about to talk about with these other applications that integrate with these pieces, because he's going to, the SkyDrive component, which is a Microsoft one, is something you can also integrate or use with your Office 365 if your organization uses or subscribes to that service, just as a side note as we're going through there.
Yeah, exactly. Two big note-taking apps. Everybody knows Evernote. If not, take a look at it. It's really cool. The other one is OneNote. It's a Microsoft product. Both were redesigned for iOS 7. They look great. They're great tools. They both take notes. And depending on your desktop situation, they will integrate with desktop applications. Evernote, multi-platform desktop application. Mac, Windows, iOS. You can install it, and you can access everything from one place. You can have a plug-in to snap web page articles, data, pictures, and you can create notebooks for easy access and tag those. You can see in the snapshot I have several notebooks. I've got tags that are hidden by the quick note bar, but I have 66 tags in there that I just have to go to the tag and find the notes instead of having to search the notebooks. There's a quick note bar that you can capture either a picture note, do a bullet list or a to-do item, or even create a notification. Of course, iOS 7 has its to-do lists and notifications that are most people will use. But if you want all-in-one, Evernote is great. OneNote, the desktop application is pretty much only for Windows. There is no Mac desktop for OneNote, and I think that's where Evernote will come into play if you're a high Mac user. But the OneNote Windows app was pretty much the first note-taking app I ever used. I know a lot of people in our office use it. It links with SkyDrive and auto-finds your notebooks. If on the desktop you save your notebooks to your SkyDrive, whenever you open up OneNote and you connect your SkyDrive to it, it will go find your notebooks and allow you to access them. So you can see that in this next screenshot. These are the notebooks that I have on my desktop at the office. They automatically show up because I'm connected to my SkyDrive. There's also quick notes access in the bottom, which offers you to do picture notes or to-do items and bullet and number lists within the notes. Both are great tools for note-taking. Depends on whether you are constantly using Windows and that's all you use, then OneNote is a great tool, especially if you have Windows tablet, not just iOS. And then Evernote, I think, is great for all-around note-taking. News apps. I talked to a bunch of people. Everybody says Flipboard, because Flipboard is by far the end-all be-all when it comes to kind of this conglomeration of news sources. But I also put in another one that I found called Frequency that I kind of like. Both of them integrate multiple data sources. They both allow you to personalize the way you consume your news. They're each slightly different in how they present the data, but both have the ability to integrate your social media. Got a snapshot of Flipboard up right now. You can see each of those windows is a separate channel. You can add multiple channels, and they have a ton to set up from, whether it's news or entertainment or weather or anything, technology. And you can navigate through the data in one of those windows. You open it up and you flip through it like you're flipping through a magazine or flipping through flipboards. The very first channel on the main screen will conglomerate everything that you have set up. So if you open up the one, it kind of takes the top news of all your channels and kind of puts it in one spot. You can set a favorite channel up, and it has a ton of social media plugins: Twitter, Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn, Instagram, Flickr, Tumblr, YouTube, a ton of them. There's a few more in there as well. So Flipboard has been around for quite a while. It's kind of the top dog, I would say, with a media conglomeration. But I found this other one called Frequency, which does it a little different. The channels are added and scroll across the top of the screen. You can see the CNN, BBC, AP News, NPR, and then the information shows up down below, and you click on each of those windows. They also have a lot of channels to set up, not as many choices. And they also have social media plugins, but not as many. It's limited. And on the main page, there's a highlights that does the same thing as Flipboard, where it collects like the top information from each channel all in one place. So if you're a news junkie, both of these apps I highly recommend.
And Jeff, just a note on, thank you for going through that, and just a note, if you can go back one, not the slide, but just take the image, there you go. So one of the values of, if you're someone that likes to share articles or have interesting comments, one thing that I like about going through Flipboard is I have it connected with my LinkedIn account as an example, so why would you do that? Well, and I also have it connected with, I have a business Facebook account. So if you connect those, those are pulled in, as Jeff mentioned, so you can pull in those feeds, so you can actually see that. Instead of having to log into LinkedIn and see that, you can see it on the Flipboard app. But you can also then reverse that and share it back. So if you find an article you really like, you can click share, and you can actually share it and post it to your Facebook or LinkedIn right from the Flipboard app and put a little comment, say, hey, interesting article about the, whatever. So that's actually kind of a cool thing. So if any of you are, especially if you're in sales or if you're in kind of a thought leadership position and you want to be able to share articles and thoughts, those are some great things to be able to instantly be able to post those to your either LinkedIn or Facebook account too.
Thank you, Nate. Yeah. We're going to buzz through a few more here. Password security apps. Password security is important. There are two biggies out there. I think people know most of the one, which is LastPass, but there's another one that I've been using for a while called 1Password. They're both great applications. What you're seeing in the snapshots is LastPass. Our company uses LastPass solely for all of our engineers, and you're able to organize things, but both have the ability to have browser plugins. They generate strong and complex passwords that you don't have to remember. You can save address info, credit card info, and much more, but they're implemented differently. For example, the LastPass iOS one, it's a free account. It stores the data in a LastPass account in the cloud, but it's highly encrypted. And if you lose your password and you can't remember remember my password stuff, it's all gone. They won't do anything for you. It's gone. You have to reset it. So they're very big into encryption. You can categorize your data. There's no desktop application, but it's fully web capable. And they have an enterprise option so that you can get an account for your users, and when they leave, you can disable it, and then they don't have to know the passwords. They just have to use the LastPass system to access them. The other one that I use for everything is 1Password, and there's a couple more, but I like 1Password because it now has cross-platform desktop application for all of them, syncing with Dropbox. So basically, it's encrypted, but in your own Dropbox, so you have control over the data. You can categorize information just as easily. And like I said, there's a cross-platform desktop application you can use. The iOS apps, what's great is they have a web browser built in, so does the LastPass one, so that when you want to go to a website that you have to enter a username and password and it's not in the Safari app, you just use 1Password or LastPass and it'll set all that stuff up for you and log in, and you don't have to remember that stuff. Brief mention of Link for the iPhone, great tool. We're using Link. You can sign in. You can view your user's availability. You can do chat, audio calls, and video calls from here, and start an email to them, all from the one interface. It gives you notifications when chat is missed. I have it running on mine. I'm always connected if I'm out during the day so that I can be reached. Great app that I thought needed to be mentioned, especially if you're using Link internally in your office. Then we're going to end up and finish up here with talking about just briefly about some media content apps. Why? Because I said so. That's why. No, because the iPad is a great media consumer device, and so is the iPhone. I bring it around so that when I stand in line and have to wait behind people who are taking too long, I can watch a movie. And sometimes, if it'll take that long for somebody to get through the line, you can finish a movie. It's great. And there are tons of apps out there. The big three for streaming movies, we've got Netflix. You can see on the snapshot here, screenshot, a bunch of them that are they're there. Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu. Those are the big three. They all require subscriptions, but all three have a lot of selection. Netflix and Amazon more than Hulu, but great media streaming applications. The major networks, TV networks, NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, and PBS, even though PBS is a public broadcasting, all of those have applications to watch missed episodes. You can usually see the last 2 or 3 episodes if you missed it. After that, they kind of fall off the website. But they also allow you to kind of integrate your TV watching with social networking if you want to. So it can kind of enhance your TV experience if you're into that thing, that kind of thing. Those are the big networks. Then the cable studios also have streaming apps, but require you to have a cable subscription like Comcast. HBO, Showtime, Sci-Fi, USA, History Channel, TNT, to name a few. All of them have applications that do the same thing of enhancing your experience of watching the channel, but also have full episodes to watch. And if you have Comcast at your house, get this application, the Xfinity Remote Control app. From that, you don't even need to use the remote control that you got with your set-top box. You can go in and you can view the TV guide for what's there. Click on what's showing. It'll come up and show you a list of items. Here's a snapshot of it. Once you click on something that's there, it comes up and it gives you a description of what it is, and you can click on a button that says Watch Now or Record. And if you hit Record, it'll start recording it on your DVR. If you have items that are on your DVR, you can actually go in and you say, oh, I watched that online, which sometimes I do. I can delete things off my DVR with this app. So, I mean, from a media content perspective, there's a lot of things that are out there. These are just the streaming video ones because we all like to watch TV and watch movies. And then if you're a couch potato, you got to have the remote control app. Nate, do you think there are any questions that people have?
There weren't a whole lot of questions actually, but I wasn't able to answer just online. But one of the things that I wanted to highlight actually, here's an emulation app, is I did want to touch on, and Jeff, maybe you could show some of those things from the very beginning as far as how the swipe ups and things like that work.
Yep.
But while you're getting that teed up, I think one of the pieces that I really like is, and I know that we touched on it here, but that we use, in fact, our sales team uses as an example, especially if you're someone that has meetings and you're taking notes, we actually integrate either Evernote and or OneNote so that if I am at my desk and taking notes because I'm on a call with the customer and I want to take some notes, that actually can integrate to SkyDrive. And then when I'm on my tablet, I can then pull up that OneNote or Evernote, and then I can access those notes that I just typed in to my PC, so or vice versa. So if I'm in a customer site and I want to use my tablet, I can actually, or my iPad, or even my phone if I really wanted to, I could pull up Evernote or OneNote, and because it can integrate with a SkyDrive and I can pull it up on my PC, I can actually use, it all synchronizes together. So that is enabled. That's something where historically we'd either take notes and then we'd scan it, we'd attach it, or we'd copy and paste or retranscribe. And so some of this technology is really enabled easier ways to synchronize that data, and it's the combination of a OneNote or an Evernote, as well as then the SkyDrive or Dropbox that enable the functionality. So, so Jeff, I see what you're doing here. So go ahead and take it away if you want to demonstrate a little bit of that as well.
Yeah, while you're talking, I just thought I would kind of do some of the things that are available. You probably saw me, zoom out and look through the applications. You can scroll through whatever applications you have, then just kind of click right to it and it opens it up. I'll do that again and I'll come back. Here's Evernote. You got your notebooks. Easy to go back and forth between them at any point. You can drop down. Oh, look at that. It's greenish because I have a green background. This is what, so far, that I've missed items. This is everything that's come in since we've been doing our stuff. Calendar for today, what's up for tomorrow. I have 6 events scheduled, what I have to do. Weather's at the top. You can still hit the home button once and come back to your main area. And if you hit it once again, it goes back to the first screen that you've set up. Scrolling up from the bottom, there's your access to everything. You can turn your flashlight on and off. You can see I'm doing. Of course, you don't see the light because you don't see the light, but I see the light. It's right there. Turn Bluetooth and everything on and off. The Do Not Disturb on and off from there. That's the swipe up. Within the settings itself, one of the things that we talked about was the under privacy location services. Here's all that information. You can see that a lot of applications will use location services. Some you're like, why would that use location services, huh? But a lot of apps do. If you look at this, the gray one under weather, the arrow means that it was used in the last 24 hours. Siri was used in the last 24 hours, so it's passbook. We can see if there's any blue ones. No. Going back to settings, under general, background app refresh.
Yeah, there's one quick question that came in that just did come in, and it's about that I don't know the answer to, so I couldn't respond online. Is when you're talking about swiping up to close the app. If you restart your phone, that does shut off all the phones, correct? So it does close all the apps in there by doing a restart?
Nope. It actually doesn't. No. What I found is that turning off the phone, it actually stores it. What I found is that I will close it on my phone and open it back up again and double-click, and everything that I was using is still there. So it kind of saves it. Yeah, it kind of saves it in the background. But the nice thing is the background, the way that it's not using, unless it's an app that is using background refresh, right? It's not using any power. It just kind of pauses it and sits it there. For example, Audible. It wasn't doing anything other than just sitting there waiting for me to open it back up again. It's not using any power to sit back there. It might have some of the RAM or processor that it's using, but it's kind of frozen it out and it's not actually using it. Whether it frees it up, I can't tell you that or not. I wish I had information for you on that, but I don't. Probably could figure it out. In other words, if you do that and go to a different app, has it stopped using the RAM that it was using and the processing power for that other application? I believe it is, but I can't answer that with 100% accuracy.
Gotcha. Well, no worries. I think that answered the question. I didn't realize I would have assumed just like restarting your PC or your Mac that would reset those apps, but that's good to know that it didn't. I did not know that.
If somebody has different experience, the last couple times I did it, they came back up with them on. So maybe it was weird that it did, but that's what I've been experiencing. So.
Well, thank you for answering, and Jeff, thanks for putting together that content. I know some of it's business oriented, some of it's just kind of fun and personal oriented. and hopefully that there's some pieces that people were able to take away for those that are watching today as well as later on. This will be posted to our website later. This has been recorded, so you can watch it later or reference it. And if anyone would like the slide deck, I'd be happy to send that to you as well. And you can go ahead and give us a shout at Mytech. So mytech.com for those of you who don't already know how to get a hold of us. And thank you very much for your time and participation, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm going to start doing some video watching and work.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Bye, everyone.
Yep. Bye.